I'm going to go over some of the tips and tricks that we have used to keep our cloth diaper stash very easy to wash and dry, because obviously washing and drying is a really important aspect of cloth diapering. Okay, so trick number one is layers. Everything that we have, I try to keep at about 2 layers deep, if that makes sense. So this is a pre-flat, and it's just 2 layers sewn together. So it will flop around in the wash and dry, and 1 cycle in the dryer is plenty to get it dry. This is a little insert. It's a very absorbent fabric, but it's just 2 layers. So this also will wash and dry within 1 dryer cycle. I do wash 2 cycles, but that's a separate topic for a separate video. This is a stretchy flat. And flats obviously fold out into just 1 layer of fabric that will wash and dry very nicely. This is a flour sack towel, which is the same thing. It's gonna fold out into 1 little layer that will wash and dry very nicely. Prefold, now this is more layers than 2, but the fabric is fairly porous and thin, and so even bunched together this will wash and dry pretty nicely in 1 dryer cycle. And I dry on medium, just as a little FYI. Okay, this is a hemp insert, but it's just 2 layers of a relatively thin fabric that I serged together, and you can trifold this. So when you're looking for inserts, ones that will trifold like that or fold in half are a good way to keep it really thin, very easy to wash and dry without sacrificing absorbency. This one's 2 layers. This one is 4 layers, but it's sewn so that you can easily separate them in the wash and dry. It's really just more like 2 layers. That keeps it very washable and dryable. Okay, now if you have something like a fitted diaper, this is a fitted. So for one thing, the absorbency is separate from the cover on this one, so that in the wash there's no part of it that is keeping water from flowing freely. And then this one has a snap out soaker. If I can do it with one hand, let's see, try my other hand. Let's see. Okay, so with a snap out soaker you get a lot of absorbency that folds up, but obviously in the wash and dryer the snake soaker is just 2 layers. And then the diaper itself, this part is also just 2 layers. So even though this is a fairly absorbent part on the inside, this is gonna wash and dry pretty well. Now I wanted to show you, okay, so when you're using a PUL cover, I like to use covers, not pockets or all-in-twos, or, well, all-in-twos would be okay, but I like to have this just really be 1 layer, because this will, I just wash these in my pre-wash cycle, and then I just pull them out to dry, and they dry very quickly without even using the dryer. So that's a really good way to preserve the fabric, and keeps it very washable, very dryable. Now this is a little fitted diaper, and I just wanted to kind of show as an example. This would be one that is one of our most difficult things to get dry and even to get clean sometimes, because it's got elastic that creates little crevices and things. It's multiple layers, and even this part right here, this is to help it wash and dry more easily, but there's still there's some thickness to it, you know, to the layers that are all sewn together. Now this is not an unreasonable wash or dry or anything, like some things are. Just a quick funny story. We bought some training pull-up things that were cloth one time, and they were really dense and a ton of fabric, and then they had a PUL outside, and they were all 1 piece. They worked just fine at night, except when I washed them I could not get the smells out because there were so many layers that it had absorbed into, and it couldn't get, you know, the water couldn't get down into. And then also drying, I could not get them dry. I would do multiple cycles, leave them out to dry, etc. Eventually I cut one up to try to pull out the inner parts and reuse them for something else, and it was literally still damp weeks after I had washed and tried to dry it. And so sorry, excuse me for the kids in the background, but anyway, that's just a funny little story. You want to keep your things easy to wash, easy to dry, and you'll save yourself a lot of headaches.